श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं जानकीनायकं रामचन्द्रं भजे।
అచ్యుత అనంత గోవింద. ఎవరైనా రామకృష్ణ దగ్గరికి వచ్చి అచ్యుత అనంత గోవింద, శ్రీనివాస గోవింద, అచ్యుత గోవింద, అనంత గోవింద అని ఎలా అంటే ఇలానే ఎవడైనా భక్తిగా పలుకుతున్నాడు అనుకోండి రామకృష్ణుడు, నీకింకెక్కడ ఉన్నాయా దోషాలు అనేవాడు. ఆ నిండు మనస్తోడు పలికితే. అంటే సినిమాలో కూడా పలికిస్తారు, అలా కాదు. ఈ డ్రామా యాక్టర్లు కూడా పలుకుతారు ఈ మాటలు, అలా కాదు. నిండు మనస్తోటి, నిండు హృదయంతో, అలాగా నిండుగా ఆ కంఠం నిండా. కొంతమంది మాట్లాడుతుంటే నోటి నిండా మాట్లాడతారు. కొంతమంది ఎలా మాట్లాడుతారంటే ఏళ్ళతో మాట్లాడితే మనకేం కలిసి వస్తున్నారు, ఏళ్ళతో మాట్లాడితే మనకేం కలిసి వస్తున్నా అనుకునే వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు. కొంతమంది అలా కాదు, నోటి నిండా మాట్లాడతారు, నిండు మనసుతో మాట్లాడతారు. అలా అచ్యుత అనంత గోవింద అలా ఎవరైనా నిండు మనసుతోటి పలికితే రామకృష్ణ దగ్గరికి వచ్చి నీకింకెక్కడున్నారే పాపాలు, ఒకసారి అచ్యుత అన్నాక ఒకసారి అనంత అన్నాక ఇది నీకు దోషాలు, నువ్వు దోషరహితులైపోయావు, నీకు మానసిక ఆరోగ్యం వచ్చేసింది. ఈ గో ఫార్వర్డ్, ఈ మార్చ్ ఫార్వర్డ్, ఈ నీడ్ నాట్ స్టాప్ టిల్ ది గోల్ ఇస్ రీచ్డ్. గో ఫార్వర్డ్. అచ్యుత అనంత గోవింద. ఇంక నీకు దోషాలు ఎక్కడున్నాయి? వాడు కాల్చి ఇడిచిపెడతాడు. ఒక గడ్డి మేతిని తగలబెట్టడానికి ఒక గడ్డి పూల చాడు. అది దోషాలను పోగొట్టడానికి అచ్యుత అనంత గోవింద. చాలు, అయిపోయింది, నీ పని అయిపోయింది. ఎప్పుడు ఇది నిండు మనస్తోటి అన్నప్పుడు ఇది హోల్ హార్టెడ్.
Suniti was the mother of Dhruva. Suniti implies the one possessing good character. Dhruva was insulted by his stepmother. When Dhruva could not tolerate the same, his mother said, "Your father does not respect me and hence will not value my word. Rather than approaching your father, why don't you take the shelter of the Supreme Lord?" On listening to his mother's advice, Dhruva went to forests for penance. When one sincerely tries to attain liberation, Narada comes down in some form to help them. To test Dhruva, Narada said, "You are still a child. So why are you trying to do such a severe penance?" Dhruva replied, "I have been insulted by my stepmother. Unable to tolerate the same, I have started the penance to please Lord Narayana." Then Narada replied, "Every person passes through the phase of prosperity as well as adversity in his life which one needs to forbear with equanimity. When you cannot tolerate the words of your stepmother, how can you perform such an intense penance?" Dhruva replied, "It is only due to the lack of power of penance that I cannot tolerate my stepmother's words. Therefore, I would like to do penance to cultivate forbearance when someone tries to insult me." Narada then said, "I appreciate your perseverance. Go to the banks of the so-and-so river and chant the name, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You will attain the grace of Vasudeva. A separate world called Dhruva Mandala will originate in your name, and you will get liberated." Not only Dhruva but all of us need to do japa. Japa implies chanting the name of a personal god with great love. To heighten the state of mind or to attain great qualities, japa is the only path. When Lord Vishnu appeared before Dhruva, pleased with his intense penance, Dhruva said, "I came to the forests in search of glass pieces but attained diamonds in return." So Dhruva intended that though he performed penance for fulfilling worldly desires, he gained the sight of Lord Vishnu.
When Lord Vishnu asked Rantideva to ask for a boon, Rantideva replied thus in the Bhagavata, "Let me stay in the hearts of all the beings of the universe and absorb their sufferings."
Kabirdas said, "Only one of these two can have a place within your heart, either ego or God. No two people can sit in the same place. If one needs to sit in a place, the other person has to vacate the same. Similarly, if ego is seated within your heart, God cannot have a place within your heart, as there will be no vacancy for him. The ego sense can exist, or the self-knowledge can exist, but not both. You can decide what you want. God will not enter your heart even if you go to temples or go on pilgrimages, as long as the ego exists within you. If you can vacate the ego within your heart with japa and meditation, the very next second, God will be seated within your heart. Therefore, examine with great caution whether God or ego has to be established within your heart."
Once, Shivaji Maharaj became very proud of his achievements. Observing this, Samartha Ramdas took him to a place and asked him to pick up a stone and break the same. When Shivaji Maharaj did accordingly, a frog came out of the stone. Shivaji Maharaj was shocked and did not understand how water got retained within a rock and how a frog lived in it. Ramdas said, "This is the glory of God's creation. Are our achievements comparable to the glory of God? Then why should we become proud of our achievements?" This preaching humbled Shivaji Maharaj.
Gajendra Moksha implies the liberation of the Elephant King. When the arrogant Elephant King enters the river to bathe with his family, a crocodile catches hold of his leg. The Elephant King tries to the best of his ability to free himself, but fails in all his attempts. In such a helpless state, his entire family abandons him and reaches the river banks. All the elephants forsake their king in his hardship. The same is true even with people. Though we may possess several friends, none rescue us during our hardships. As the crocodile held the Elephant King, even our ego has been holding us very firmly. Ultimately, when the Elephant King prays unto the Supreme Lord and surrenders himself completely, the Lord comes to his rescue.
Pothana writes Bhagavatam. Srinatha was the brother-in-law of Pothana. Pothana was a great devotee. Srinatha was a great poet. However, his talk was defective. He always had the habit of criticizing others. When Pothana completed the writing of Bhagavatam, Srinatha commented, "Your Bhagavatam seems to be very good except for one incident. When the king of elephants prays the Lord for help, you mention that Lord comes running without any weapons." Pothana was a very great devotee. He didn't possess any rajas. Therefore Pothana listened to Srinatha's words quietly and didn't react for the same. The next day, when both Pothana and Srinatha were having their lunch, Pothana came out to wash his hands and screamed thus, "O Srinatha, your daughter fell in the well." Srinatha came running to rescue his daughter even without washing his hands. Then Pothana said, "My dear brother-in-law, how is it that you came running even without a rope or a ladder to rescue your daughter? Will God not possess the same concern towards his devotee you possess for your daughter?"
Will God require a weapon to protect his devotee? It is easy to criticize others regarding things that are not in our experience. We don't understand the pain involved in hardship. Only the one who experiences the trouble understands the pain involved. Only a poor man can understand the pain of poverty, and only a hungry man can understand the pain of hunger. Devotion without knowledge is blind, and knowledge without devotion is lame.
Bhagavan Ramana said, Tyagaraja did not get liberated by singing the glory of the Lord. He got liberated and then sang the glory of the Lord.
Tyagaraja said, O Rama, you are an orphan, and I am not an orphan, for I possess you as my protector. You have become my umbrella, but you don't have an umbrella.
Tyagaraja said, there exist several great souls. Salutations to all of them.
Tyagaraja said, I will not proclaim Rama to be God by merely sitting or walking. Instead, I will proclaim Rama as God sitting on an elephant.
Tyagaraja said, if you possess the purity of heart equivalent to that of Rama, you will certainly attain a place in his heart and get attracted by him.
Tyagaraja said, why does the eternally free one require any japa, tapa, mantra, or tantra?
When Draupadi asked Vidura, why am I facing only humiliation at every step of my life? Vidura replied, contemplate upon the Lord of Lords, that is, Vishnu. All your sorrow will turn into bliss. All your disturbance will convert into peace. All your liabilities will become your assets. As the fire subsides on sprinkling the water, Draupadi's sorrow comes down immediately after listening to these words.
Kuchela experienced intense poverty since his childhood. It is not an ordinary thing to experience poverty, instead, it is a tremendous hardship. Unable to tolerate poverty, some people keep on rebuking people whomever they come across. Such is the pain of poverty. Here lies the greatness of Kuchela. Despite experiencing extreme poverty, he never questioned God about why he granted him such poverty. He rebuked neither his relatives nor his friends due to poverty. He experienced poverty calmly and peacefully. Even in extreme poverty, he ensured that the mind did not react or express anger. Such is the devotion of Kuchela.
Kuchela did not even think of approaching his childhood friend and the King of Kings, Lord Krishna, for help. When the time came to put an end to the suffering of Kuchela, God made Kuchela's wife utter thus, "We have been suffering from extreme poverty for several years. Why don't you approach your childhood friend Lord Krishna for help?" It was God only who said these words through the wife of Kuchela. Even then, Kuchela did not feel like asking Krishna. He only felt, at least in this manner, I can see Lord Krishna.
Sordas had an intense seeking to get educated. However, his parents ignored his education due to his blindness. Hence Sordas left the family in search of knowledge. The family also felt relieved as they did not need to feed Sordas. But when Akbar later revered Sordas, Sordas's brothers approached him and asked him to return home. Then Swordas replied, "Now the entire world is my home, and mankind is my brethren."
When Akbar invited Swordas to sing in his court, Swordas replied, "I would like to sing only in the court of Lord Krishna and not in the court of any king."
Being impressed by his devotion when Akbar offered to gift 100 acres of land to Swordas, Swordas said, "The entire land belongs to the Supreme Lord, and out of it, do you want to give me 100 acres?"
Annamacharya said, "One who praises himself and blames others can never be called a devotee. He is neither a Saivite nor a Vaishnavite."
Annamacharya said, "O Lord Venkateshwara, you have millions of devotees. Yet, because of one quality called tolerance, you look upon our bad attributes as our good.